Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes. I'd like to welcome Eddy Smits here, who is an author, a motivational speaker, and well, I guess I'll just call him, he's a clown. Anyway, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Eddy.
Okay, I'll come to the clown bit. So I'm from Belgium, born there. Studied as a teacher, but couldn't get my creative things going there. So I started my own theater company. I started with puppet theater, beginning of the 90s. And then at some point, I work for children. So at some point, I saw here in Belgium was a clown that had a television show actually, and I was so intrigued by the figure of that clown because of course it attracts children. I was working with children, and I wanted to know more about that. So I went into clowning and learning and stuff. And as I was in like 5, 6 years, I got the opportunity to perform for children in hospitals as a hospital clown. And I grabbed that opportunity, and that's actually when my life started. There I learned so much about myself, about people, about everything actually, communication, you can everything. And that was so valuable for me that I wrote a book about it, about because I felt like the things that we were doing in hospitals for these sick children and even palliative children, I always felt, if you can make my motto then was, if you can make a dying child laugh with that attitude and with that skill or whatever you call it, there has to be more than that than only in hospitals. And it is, you can just take that attitude, the techniques, the how you are in life, you can take that to your business, to your personal life, to everything, and it works everywhere. And I've been working around that since that, some high and lows, but that became my thing. And 2015, I stopped performing, went into coaching. That wasn't really my thing. I really needed to be on stage back again. So I did a TED talk at some point, and I felt like coming home again after so many years that I wasn't on stage. And so that's what I started up, started to speak about these things. And again, I felt like I was really in the thing that I wanted to say to people. I could reach a much bigger audience than when I was coaching one-on-one. And the book is from 2012. So I've been working 12 years around that theme, around how can you use these things of a hospital clown in real life. So that's me in short.
Do you have maybe a shtick or something that goes along with being a clown?
Um, Not really, because like hospital work, it's all improvised. So we improvise, and we tend to take nothing in the room, just ourselves as a clown.
Hmm.
Um, and also in my let's say my makeup and stuff is very limited to little red nose, a little bit my blush on my cheeks, and I have these two fake pieces of hair on my head. That's what I do. So that's it actually. So that's so it's really basic clowning, because that's what you need when you perform for sick children. That's the difference actually between, like, saying entertaining a birthday party. There, when you come in and they see the red nose, they go berserk, right? Ah, the clown is there,
Yeah.
woohoo, fun. But in a hospital, it's like they can be scared, they can be sick, they can be in pain, they can be in the last days of their lives. So there is, it's totally different. There, the red nose is something sometimes even scary for them. So it's a total different approach. Yeah.
Do you tell jokes or anything like that?
It's like it's like a little bit of ping pong game you play. So you come in, you observe, you see what's
Mhm.
going on. Of course, you had a briefing before to know what the kid has and stuff, but actually you don't take that in account. You know it in your back of your head, because it just can be important. Like when you see a kid with his broken arm, you can make a joke. Oh, did you fight? Blah blah blah. But you don't know. Maybe it's been abused or something. See, so you
Mhm.
have to be careful how you have to tread carefully. And then a sort of game begins. So you come in, you observe, you see what's going on, you try to make some connection with the kid. Maybe in the briefing they told you he likes, I don't know what, Power Rangers, whatever. So you try to make a connection, and once you have the connection, then sort of game starts, and you follow the kid in what he wants or what he can do or can't do. Maybe he's tied in his bed, he can't get him out of bed. Maybe he can. You don't really know. And then this sort of game starts where, of course, the ultimate goal is to make him laugh or her laugh. And that's what you do. And you try to be in the room 10, 15 minutes max because you have a lot of children to do in hospital. And then you end the game and up to the next room. So that's the kind of thing you do as a hospital clown.
Has there ever been a time when you like really, really connected with a child? Like you got emotionally involved with that child?
Yeah, a lot of times. Especially in the end of my hospital clowning career, when you do the palliative work, there you connect so much because there you need the real connection, because they are so, yeah, they are literally in the last days of their lives. So you need to really connect with them, and that means you have to be open, honest, emotional, everything that comes. You have to accept it, because if you don't, the kid will feel it. The child will feel it that you are not genuine, that you're just playing a clown, right? You have to
Right.
be that clown, be that thing. Yeah, and then it's inevitable that you make a connection, and that is also inevitable. Then, some kids they make it, others they don't. Then it's inevitable that if they don't make it, it's like, yeah, it's like being hit with a hammer, and that's also why most of the hospital clowns who do palliative work, it's not forever. They have a limited edition. They at some point, I always tell, it's every time something happens like that, it's a drop in the bucket, right? And at some point the bucket's, yeah, it's full, it overflows, and then you have to stop, because then you can't do the work anymore then, or you can't do any good anymore then.
It's
So
got to
yeah.
be a type of catch 22 because you're doing something great that makes you feel good, but then when you get that story of, oh, this child's passed away, that's got to be a real dagger in your heart.
It is, and the only thing that gets you through then is knowing that, not only you had a connection, you made the kid laugh, but it's also very important, and people tend to forget that the parents are there too, right? Or their little sister or little brother,
Mhm.
and that's the ones actually you also do it for, because they take, I mean, they haven't laughed for weeks, right? And they take home that feeling, and they take home that emotion, and that's the kind of connections you also make through, of course, the sick child, and that's what makes it worthwhile. Also, not only the kid in that moment, but afterwards, the family still they keep that thought, that this smile, or I had children really with tears in their eyes from laughing, right? And that's the thing they remember about the kid when he's not there anymore. So that's how I get by it, and that's how also I could keep on doing the work for so long, actually. Yeah.
Was there anything else that you'd have to do when once you go home to kind of leave that at the door?
Yeah, it's a very good question. The part of the clown helps a lot, right? If I go into a room, I'm not Eddie anymore. I'm a clown, right? Of course, there's a lot of connection. You can't disconnect totally. After all, you're still a human being. You're human. Um, but that's something that helps a lot, because the clown thinks different. He is different. He has a clown only lives in the now, so there's no past, no future. So that helps a lot. That figure of the clown, if you get into it really well in your role, because at the end of the day, it is a role, right? You can't go out doing the same things in the middle of the street. I think people will put you in jail. But so that's the biggest thing. But again, not it's not for everybody. I trained a lot of clowns afterwards, and you have three people. You have the people who are not good enough as a clown, so you can't use them. Then you have the people that are good enough as a clown, but emotionally they can't take it. But you can use them for they are 9 out of 10 the kids they broke an arm, or they have an infection, or they something like that. Not They are in the hospital a few days and then they go out. So you can use these clowns for doing that work. And then you have the last things that are really children that are going to die or don't know that are going. So that these real cases, and you use these clowns to go there, but you don't find them a lot. These are rarities. These people who can do that work. So yeah.
And when my little brother was, I think he was around 7, 8 years old, he had to go into the children's hospital. They finally found out it was his spleen that was causing his problems, but he bruised real easy. And
Yeah.
this was, it was a big toll on him because they have to do spinal tap and all kinds of other stuff before, they went and did the procedure. So while
Yeah.
he's in there, he's surrounded by other kids who are, a lot worse off than what he was. And there
Mm.
were a bunch of football players that came in. They were playing in the college Bluebonnet Bowl, and it brightens the kid's day. It gives them a moment to just forget about what they're going through.
That's
And
exactly it. Forget about what they're going through, and that is what a laugh does, or something like that. Exactly what you are saying does, and that's the nice thing of the work. Of course, that's you get your pay from doing that. Let's explain it like that. Yeah. Mm.
well, if someone was interested in doing that, how do they get started?
I think you really need to have a good clown base. Although it depends. When I started out searching for clowns and training clowns for doing the work, we just looked in that time still the yellow pages still existed because pre-internet, right? So we looked for people who were clowns, and we just called them or wrote them, or whatever, and asked them, "Hey, are you interested to be a hospital clown?" And then we did an open door, or how you call it. We
Like
checked them
an,
out.
yeah.
Were they good enough? Yeah, right. Um, we worked like that. But what we saw and felt is that we had to de-learn them a lot of things. So they knew a lot of things of clowning, but we had to bring them back to the essential thing of clowning. So that took us a long time to get them there. So what we did at some time, we just asked. Then social media was going around. We just asked on social media, "Hey, are there any people who are interesting to do clowning work? And you don't need to be a clown. You don't need to know anything. We only need somebody who is motivated to do it." So we got a reaction on that, and then we took our people from that. Of course, also we did some play with them and tests, and then we trained them to be a hospital clown. And that was easier. That was and quicker, actually, because when you have to de-learn something, it takes more time than if you have to have to teach somebody something. So at that was the moment that we started to do it like that. But the basics that we learned them is clowning. The basics is, how does a clown think? How does he go in a room? And you go in a room having pity with a child, but how does a clown enter a room? No, he's just curious, right? He's so curious about what's going on there and what's going on under the bed, and he doesn't see the seriousness of it. He sees the playfulness of it, and from there you start, and of course it's by doing that you learn. Nobody starts out. When we started out, we started out with two clowns. We didn't know anything, because at that point hospital clowning in Belgium didn't exist. You had Patch Adams in America, and then this movement, so there was something going on there. But in Belgium we didn't know anything. We just did what we thought that we had to do, and of course a lot of times this was wrong. But so we learn by doing it, and at some point, of course, you get the hang of it. And then uh, because even I know that not every hospital wanted us, huh? They were and that now it's so common, I think every hospital has its hospital clowns, or most of the big ones in each case. But in that period, it was like, no, we don't want that. No clowns in a hospital. So yeah, really, we had to convince them and say, okay, but let us just come once and see how the nurses react, see how the doctors react, and just see how it plays out. And we did a lot of times we needed to sell ourselves actually, right? Yeah.
Are you able to teach over Zoom and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. And that was also a thing we had during COVID, because then we couldn't go into hospitals anymore. And so at that point, I proposed to the clowns, okay, let's do a chat, right, with the children via Zoom or whatever. And there were not a lot of clowns who wanted to do that. They say, no, it's not going to work, Eddie. We can't, if you don't have the real connection, it's not working. And here also I said, listen, I think it's going to work, but why don't we try it? So, and we agreed that we tried it with the clowns that wanted to try it, because if they don't want it, then it's not going to work anyway. So with the clowns who wanted to try it, we did it. And we found out that it worked magically. Of course, it was another way of working and another way of approaching the child. That was totally different. But the key thing, making them laugh, having this playful clown thing, that worked magically, even on Zoom. So yeah.
And do you have a website that people can go to? Maybe they're interested in doing that.
Yeah, it's just my name, eddysmits.com. There's not so much on it, but there's stuff on it. In each case, you can contact me through that. Whatever you want to need or know, or just contact me. I'm glad to help with anything you need. Yeah.
And your book, where can people get your book?
Yeah, that's a problem. I'm looking into it, what I'm going to do with it, because the publishing firm that published it in 2012 went bankrupt in, I think, 2018 or something. So the paperback is not available anymore. But if people are interested, just send me an email and I will send you for free the PDF version of the book. So we'll solve it like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Was there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
No. Thank you for inviting me on your podcast, and thanks for the talk. Thanks that I could introduce myself. And yeah, again, people who are interested or want to know more, just contact me.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you for reaching out.
I'm very happy to do that. Yeah.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Till the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network